talking here from my very weirdly lit room because the main light made the video go really fuzzy, so I'm just using a lamp. Makes me look a bit kind of, not horror movie, but dramatic, sort of. So, yeah, sorry about that. That's gonna really annoy me now, sorry. No, gonna keep it, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be cool. It's the talking and stuff which is important, right? Right. But yeah, basically, I decided that Emma is one of my favourite things. Maybe like life and God, friends, close family kind of beat it, but it's pretty darn good, guys. I mean, I was up at like 2 AM the other night, 3 AM, trying to finish reading it, and like a periodic moment I was screaming, "You beautiful idiots! I love you all so much!" And that's a sign of a good book, I think. So yeah, it's good. And you should all read it right now. And basically, our story begins. Actually, okay, so those who don't know Ella, in which case I kind of suggest that you turn this video off right now. It's a 21-year-old girl, I think, called Emma Woodhouse, in Regency period, who's like, she's the only like proper gentleman's daughter in the neighbourhood, and she kind of takes under her wing this girl from local school, she's like 17, called Harriet, and she tries to introduce her to good society, and she thinks that she's really good at making matches, so she tries to pair Harry up with anyone and everyone. And then she's also trying to work out who she has feelings for, because at the beginning she thinks she's never going to marry, but there's also like the mysterious Frank Churchill, who you think is going to turn up, but he doesn't for a good like third of the book. And he's like, yeah, he's about her age, and her ex-governess just married his dad, so yeah, there's a whole big thing there. And eventually she falls in love, in gorgeous romantic love, but still really teasing and lovely, with Mr. Knightley, who's just is really old family friend, and they spend the whole book like teasing each other and testing each other, and they finally get together in the last bit, because that's what Austen books do. Everything comes together and gets happy ever after, and lots of taking the mick out of people, and that's why it's just balls and niceness and a bit of mystery. I know. So sounds good, yeah? So I'll probably read it, if not, or watch the TV series, or there's a film which I haven't seen, or Clueless if you want, though I don't think it's as good. Yeah, off you go. What are you still there for? But I happen to have done all these things recently, because the team that did the Lizzie Bennet Diaries decided to do Emma Approved, which is a modern like blogging adaptation of Emma. I'm so excited about it. And yeah, I wanted them to do it, like, when they announced they're going to do Sanditon, I really wanted them to do Emma, so I was disappointed. Now they actually are doing Emma, and it's so good. Yeah. It's just brilliant. I think it's going to work so well, really. But now I keep thinking about what characters it's going to have or not have, because obviously didn't have, like, the Bennet parents, the other one, which I was kind of sad about, even though it fitted the thing they did. And so I really want the Westons, and I really want Emma's dad, and that kind of thing. I really want to have Highbury as well, even though they made it into a Emma Approved into a company thing instead. So, but I trust them. You know, they did a really good job in Pride and Prejudice, so I'm going to trust them. But yeah, hearing about that prompted me to rewatch the TV series, which is one of my favourite adaptations of basically anything ever. It's so good. Like, the leads are perfect for their roles, and I hardly ever say that. And, so brilliant. I just feel so happy at the end, and the chemistry between Ramona and Johnny is wonderful. And they kept lots of things to the book, but changed like it's like little things to make it more romantic and like easier to get along with. And yeah, you can't get sucked into it without knowing as well. That's how you do an adaptation, guys. But anyway, that made me watch that, which then made me listen to the soundtrack for hours on end, because it's a really pretty soundtrack. Kind of the beginning of it is at this video. Well, that's the beginning of Seaside, which is the only one I've downloaded because I'm poor. It's kind of sugary and light, but just really happy, and that's just Emma's general temperament about the world. And yeah, it makes you just think everything's going to be okay, which is really nice. Because I'm going to uni soon and I'm terrified, so any kind of reassurance about life is good. So yeah, that made me do that. And then my mum was watching Clueless downstairs a couple of days afterwards, so I watched that with her. And I've now found the film version of Emma, so I'm going to watch that. But a couple of days after that as well, I found the book in a shop when we were shopping. Very originally. And I actually have the book anyway, but it's as part of a complete set of Jane Austen collection, so it's like a Norse book to take anywhere. So having the little one prompted me to actually take the plunge and read it, and I was not disappointed. So now it's going to be like a little reviewy thing about it, because it's so brilliant. Seriously, read. But yeah, I've already read 2 Jane Austen books. I read Pride and Prejudice last summer for my literature class, and then around last Christmas I read Sense and Sensibility, which I tried to read before I couldn't get into, and this time I really did get into it. I still don't think it's as good as the other 2, but it's really funny. And Mr. Palmer is like one of my favourite like humorous fictional creations all the time. I think he's just wonderful. Even though he's only mentioned a few times, he's brilliant. I'm sorry. Professional reviewing mode. Look, I've got a notepad and everything. And also, because I was a complete geek and I was shopping with my friends and happened to spot it, I bought the Emma study notes. That's kind of because when I was reading P&P, obviously I love the story already because I've seen the Keira Knightley adaptation and the TV series. I like both of them, especially Keira Knightley, because let's face it, that film is gorgeous. And yeah, it's just one of my favourite films. So yeah, so I read the book and kind of think, okay, this is good. And then I went through it with my teacher, and just it makes you just really understand how astonishingly clever Austen is. And it made me appreciate the book a lot more, which I don't say many times when I'm like studying stuff in literature, and normally kind of like it less unless it's Shakespeare plays. So that was really good. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, I thought maybe Emma will do the same thing, but it turns out I understood it pretty well anyway. Well, understood it. And it brought up a couple of things I hadn't thought of, but in general I think I'm starting to read more critically, so I was pretty much okay. But yeah, it's a really geeky buy, but I really enjoyed reading it. Right, so Emma, actual Emma. I need to start doing this now because I'm way into this video already. But yeah, it's really cool. I find the writing style like way more easy to read than anything else I've read of Austen's. Like, it is still stylized, obviously, and it's still like relatively emotionless and yeah, funny and a bit distant, but yeah. But it also, I think it feels really warm, and it's less, I think there's less caricatures than in most other books, except maybe Mr. Woodhouse. I like Mr. Woodhouse, so I'm alright with that. Yeah, it kind of seemed more like at ease with the world, and not, I'm going to judge these people. It's just kind of giving you all the information, and it's like flowing and mature, and I think lots of things are much more subtle than any other books. I still think the actual narrative of Pride and Prejudice is a lot better, but I don't know, I really, really enjoyed reading it. So, I'm going to get my list out somewhere so I can remember what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so then there's Emma herself, who, there's a famous like Austen quote thing, which I never remember properly, but it's something like her writing that she was the only person who was ever going to like this character when she was writing Emma, and that I think she's wrong. I really like Emma. She's a complete snob. She's convinced that she's right about everything most of the time, unless Mr. Knightley tells her otherwise. She judges people quickly. She's very high class, and most of the stereotypes that go with that. But she also she's kind of really innocent, and she has a good heart, and she tries to help out people when she can. And I think she's just bored, really, is where most of her like weaknesses go. And I think she's like a really much more of a layered character than we normally get at the centre. And I also think like the way she learned was humorous, because she kept thinking, right, I've learned this lesson, and doing the exact same thing again. I thought it was way more realistic than like in Pride and Prejudice, where she has like the big realisation and it's like, I'm going to be perfect from now on, even though she's still our old Lizzie in Pride and Prejudice. But yeah, in this one it's a bit more complex, and even at the end when you think she really has learnt it, you're still kind of glad to know that Miss Knightley's going to be there to like reaffirm like her judgment. She goes on, so you think she's going to be okay, but she still hasn't become an angel, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, she's just a sweetheart, really. She tries her best, and she just wants to have a fun, happy life. And yeah, and she likes things to be organised, which I can't really relate to, but I can think of lots of people who can, or who do. And yeah, I really like Emma. And then, of course, it's her and Mr. Knightley, who I really love their relationship. It's just really friendly, and there's a whole thing where he's reading a letter, and it's just domestic loveliness. It really reminds me of my own parents, kind of. I think they fit together really brilliantly. And just, it's a soft and nice and not very proper, but just lovely, really. I want to Miss Knightley. Can someone send me one, please? I'll tell you my postcode if you message me, maybe. You're sending Mr. Knightley to me. Right, let's go. And yeah, and then I thought they did the minor character really brilliantly as well, actually. Like, in Pride and Prejudice, like, they do the sisters and family really brilliantly, and the Garniers are pretty cool too. But then there's like her other set of aunts and uncles who like no one ever really remembers because they're just not that exciting characters, and other people as well. I mean, he does pretty well, but still, I think you get to know everyone better in Emma, and you get to know, like, yeah, more aspects of everyone's character. I'm just going to pick out my few favourites to talk about, or my few ones I just want to talk about, not necessarily my favourites. But, so there's Miss Bates, who, I adore Miss Bates. She's just the talker, and she goes on and on and on and on, but it's always about other people, and like almost never about herself. The only time it is about herself is saying how lucky she is to have all those lovely people around her. But she also at the same time she's also really, really irritating, as like it's pointed out, because her speeches literally take up like 4 pages of the book. You know, it's really funny because that's only like for the first half of the book. The rest of the time it just like describes, says Mrs. Bates talked for a long time, and it's kind of like in Sherlock Holmes where he gave up on all the deductions after a while because he couldn't be bothered. That might not be the actual case. I find it funny to think about it like that. And yeah, but you don't really realise what a bad situation she is in until like Mr. Knightley like spells out to Emma, and so we get like that realisation at the same time as he does about how like pitiable she is, really, and what a lovely person she is at the same time as everything else. You can kind of excuse her because how irritating she is, like every day for years of your life. But yeah, I think they did her really well. I'm really pleased that she was in it. And then they have Frank Churchill, who's, you have your Wickhams and your Willoughbys, and then you have your Frank Churchills, who are kind of based off the same idea, because he's still like a bit of a charmer and ladies' man, and with happy spirits and happy manners and all that. But he's not evil. He's just pretty flawed, but you can believe him, and you can see like the motives behind most of his actions, at least, or at least how he could get carried away. It kind of reminds me of Henry Crawford in Mansfield Park. I haven't read the book of that, but in the film adaptations, like he's a bit of an idiot. We can see how he would make his mistakes, but even I think Frank Churchill was better than him though. Like a better and personal round. Like, obviously you can choose as Jane, and Jane is wonderful. But yeah, and how he's like almost exactly like Emma as well, and you can see all the comparisons between the two. I thought that was really cool, and it's not like notable at first, like all the way through. But when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah. And obviously he gets his Jane, who's quite a lot like Mr. Knightley because they get along a lot. Yeah, and then there's a character who annoyed me a bit is Mr. Weston. I didn't expect to be annoyed by him because in the TV adaptation he's an absolutely lovable teddy bear. I mean, he's the actor who's in Downton Abbey, whose name I've temporarily forgotten, but he just makes everyone really sweet. Yeah, in the book he is, and he really loves Frank, and he really loves Emma, and he really loves his wife, and that's brilliant. Then also just when he's talking to Mrs. Elton, like, I think most people want to get away from Mrs. Elton when she's talking, but like the second she stops like joining in on him, like saying how wonderful Frank is, he just kind of ignores her and walks away. And it's like a bit. And yeah, he only talks about Frank, and he wants to be in company all the time. Like despite what everyone else thinks, he's complete gossip. And kind of see how he's realistic. I think I balanced him out as a good guy, like because of everyone he loves. But yeah, still. And also, sorry, I forgot a bit about Miss Knightley and Emma. Like, I really love their relationship. And there's a bit in a chapter near the end where he's talking about when he fell in love with her. And it was something like, I had to keep scolding you to like remind me of your bad parts, because otherwise I would have been in love with you from the time you were around 13. I really think, oh, that's kind of cute, because they were growing up together and they've lived together all their lives. Then you remember that he's 16 years older than her, so he was in fact 29 and trying not to be in love with a 13-year-old. I find that a bit. It's kind of one of these. It's kind of one of those things you just have to get over, because no, that's not good. But I just ignore that line and love their relationship anyway. It's cool. I also like how I'm overusing the word like in this, as I always do. But in Pride and Prejudice you get like the realism of the actual world they're living through Charlotte marrying Mr. Collins mainly. Sometimes really excellent girls like Charlotte marry complete idiots like Collins, just to get along in life, and sometimes it has to happen. And you kind of see her reasoning, but at the same time you really don't want it. It kind of reminds you about real life still there, like this isn't the perfect fairy tale. It could happen, even though it kind of couldn't. Yeah. You don't get guys like Mr. Darcy walking past every day, which is really bad luck. But yeah, I think in Emma it's kind of like more subtly done, and I'm not sure if it's purposeful or not, or if it's just because I'm a modern reader, but for me I thought that was really through how they portrayed like the class system, because at the end everyone ends up with someone in their social class, and when Emma properly realises that Harriet's father was just a tradesman, she's kind of really disgusted by how she's been trying to pair him up with all these gentlemen and stuff. And yeah, it seems Mr. Knightley, who kind of thinks this has to be the system, you have to stick to it, and marrying this person would be a degradation. I think, no, he's people, guys, come on. Maybe it's a sign of the times, but I don't know, it's not as concentrated on in a other Austen book, I don't think, or not by a main character. And yeah, so that kind of kept me like grounded a bit more in this book, I think. It was something which made me I'm not sure about that. That's like the only thing which made me sad about reading the book, because it's kind of portrayed in the film, like in the TV version, like she doesn't go to the Coxes because she thinks she's better than them, but it's not so much in your face, and this was pretty much in your face. But yeah, it does keep you grounded, and it is important, I think, because it's part of, you need a bit of reality in books, otherwise they're miles away from you. Even if they are escapism, you need something to keep you believing. And then also the thing about them robbing the turkey farm is the reason Emma and Miss Knightley get together. Well, not get together, yeah, they're allowed to get married. It's just like a bit, not ironic, but it's just something really mundane happening to make the happy ending happen. And I really love that. It's just, I can't really explain why, but I guess it's, yeah, I really like that. And yeah, that's basically what I've got to say about it. I really, really, really can't wait for Emma Approved. It's going to be so awesome. I can't wait to watch it and be excited with everyone. And yeah, I think it's going to be brilliant. So, yeah, now I've ranted at you a bit, I'm going to let you go. Read Emma. Honestly, read Emma. Just, oh, Emma. Actually, just read any Jane Austen book you can get your hands on, because it's all so clever, and it's a woman's perspective on history, which you don't get every day. And, well, you do, but not written at that time so much. Well, you can read some George Eliot or Bronte as well. I'll let you do that. They're both good too. Just read. Books are so good, and read and then watch TV and stories, guys. Oh, sorry, I'm in a completely incomprehensible mood at the moment, which probably made it a bad idea to do this. But yes, I love you guys. Be good to yourselves. Carry on. Read. Do stories, or if you can't read, then listen to audiobooks. It's a very bad ending. Okay, bye.